Marlis, you had a question, you said?
Well, I have several questions, but first off, when donations come in, does that revenue go to a general fund, or are they earmarked for special, items?
Traditionally, they are earmarked for what the donor asks for, unless the donor just says this, like if they gave to give an example, we want to just donate $500 to the library, and if they want it for something specific, or if they just leave it up in the library board, it just depends on each donation. Everyone is different.
But it doesn't usually go into the general fund?
I seldom see a donation where they say, here, take this and just spend it. They generally say it should go towards a certain project.
Okay, then on page one, when you add up the budget and you add up the projected for the year, there's quite a difference in there. You know, some like contracted services were over by 69,000, storm sewer by 20,000, capital out, you know, there's a lot of examples on here. So, Angela, is our budget balanced, or are we over budget?
Can I take that? In the past, this question has been answered multiple times in a variety of ways, but as an example, in the street department, where number one, it's a projected, it's not an exact, and number two, when we have expenses and we've taken money out of capital outlays, and accounts that have been saved for different things, again, this is solely an expense and not a revenue report. So I've asked a few times, but I'll happily restate it, that when we take a look at expenses, please don't take it out of context, and make sure that you take a look at a revenue side of things too, to get the full picture.
May I ask Angela a question now?
Sure.
Angela, I talked to you earlier today, are we over budget?
If you look at what was budgeted and what was spent, yes, we spent more than was budgeted. That same token, you know, this pink sheet, when you reallocate those funds,
Right.
the cash flow was there to pay those expenses. And you know, I'm kind of glad Bill's on board, because he's got kind of a finance background as well. I wonder if there's a better way to maybe set up a fund for capital expenses that have already been budgeted for, that wouldn't necessarily show up in the current operations budget. For next year, just so that it doesn't get commingled with all of this stuff.
But when you do the transfers, I mean, to say you've gone over budget, I mean, that's like saying, wow, you went over budget because we bought a piece of machinery that you've been saving for. That's not accurate, because if you don't take into consideration the expense and the revenue side, you're only getting part of the picture. And that's why you need to take a look at the full picture with the transfers and the allocations.
We get audited every year,
We do get audited
for,
every year.
just so I can sleep at night. So if somebody was stealing money, that would be, because everything balances out when they're here, right?
They do, I mean, they go through
Thank you.
a fraud check, and
And by the way, that audit is fully available for everybody. When it comes out, it's usually available, when is it, March-ish?
February, March.
Late February, early March. So basically, we have a proposed budget as printed of $2,739,563, or if you wanted to add that $37.85 to that, it would be $2,743,348, and that would be the levy for 2016.
What was that here? Adding that,
Adding the 3,785.
right?
And that's 1,500 for the park and rec vehicle capital outlay, and 2,285 of an increase in the fire budget. That would make for a total of 2,743,348.
And do we know what, what contract pricing is gonna be for this? Or, I mean, are we okay with approving the budget without having this
That contract pricing
in the budget?
That's
is in
reflected
this budget. The
Okay.
Marlis, the breakdown between the utility portion, I can get that, but
No,
the actual overall cost that he's asking for in his contract is in the current budget.
That answers my question, thank you, Angela.
Question then too, along with this, if we're going to book the 2,743,348, what about the proposed revenue side on the budget? Usually on the balance sheet, it balances out to zero, or out to, so do we have to kind of flip-flop that around so that it looks, that reflects the same amount? How do we do that? I know there's creative accounting here, but.
No, I'd ask you to withdraw that and look at number 4, letter D. Please withdraw creative accounting because it's exactly misleading and unfair and
Okay,
untrue.
sorry, I'll withdraw.
Thank you. In letter D, you will see discussion and possible approval of the 2016 general fund budget. The budget is your expenditure report of which by passing this, you would be agreeing to those expenditures. The 2016 tax levy is your revenue side, so they would offset each other because your budget and your levy would be set to have a net of 0.
Okay.
So I wouldn't call it creative so much as just math.
It's a, I was never good at accounting.
But you're a fantastic doctor.
Oh, bless your heart.
Good way of talking.
Yeah, it's the best.
So I guess,
You have a
we would,
question there?
yeah,
What is the city's max levy limit?
the net, where we are plus the net new, where would we be?
Well, we're figuring that out. How much is in the unallocated general fund, or if we're over budget on something, or we have a storm issue, you know, how much money is in a, for lack of better words, a rainy day fund that we can pull out of?
We've got a breakdown of all the different general fund accounts and how much is in all of those different ones. I anticipate probably a Thursday meeting this week. Can I bring that to you on Thursday?
That'd be great.
Perfect.
And is any money, are we at our levy limit?
We were, I think we were at our maximum levy limit last year.
The reason I ask is I voted against the Trempealeau County Board, our budget. We were at our levy limit of $10,375,000, and we took money out of our general fund to balance the budget, so we were actually over almost $250,000 over our budget. I was wondering if the same thing was happening here.
Doc, can I,
You can just call me Ron, not Doc.
no, I was gonna restate something to Doc. Can I restate my comment about 4, letter D? That tax levy, the general fund budget would include all the expenditures. That tax levy would be setting the city of Arcadia portion of the levy. And with that levy added to all the different revenue streams, that would be a net balance of 0 with the proposed expenditures.
That would even it out here.
Yes. Because, did that make sense to everybody? Okay.
Didn't hear an answer to Rod's question.
What, did you have the levy limit, Angela?
I'm looking for it here.
Okay.
The proposed budget didn't have an increase in the levy, so I didn't think to bring that along.
So we will not cause taxes, we already.
Well, it depends on whether we add that 3785 to the proposed budget, or if you'd like to pull that from something, but just for a matter of record, while Mrs. Berg is looking for that, the proposed budget for 2016 for the city general property tax levy is $698,298. In 2006, that was $661, so you're talking a $37,000 total increase including net new construction over the course of 10 years. So, you know, that increase is due to new construction. So that's been very stable. I know it was at 694,000 in 14, and that was there for a couple of years there. I mean, it's been very, very slow. So a long answer to a short question is correct. Angela, with that health insurance being allocated, both that slip up there, where it's allocated fully in the court and in the clerk budget, that will more than cover the increase in the fire department budget and the park vehicle, right?
Yeah, it should, I don't have the, yeah, it would.
Okay, so then we don't need to make that 2,743,000, that could stay at the published dollar amount for the budget of 2,739,563, and that would keep that levy at the 698,298.
Is there a meeting Thursday night?
Bob had mentioned wanting to get that recycle service thing done, and I've got a couple of things written on from last night's meeting.
Because I sure would like to give Bob Wojni the opportunity to vote on this. And he had to leave us today. Gotcha.
I can, it's not, I don't know why it's not pulling up on here, but it's supposed to be on the website, so.
And there's no saying you'll be able to make it on Thursday.
No, I know, and it's better, but I
It's,
just wanted to be part of it, you know.
May I ask a question on the budget?
sure.
With some of the unknowns at the landfill, how are you guys, are you going to, reallocate out of the current budget on another line item if you need to reallocate to one of those line items?
I think that has so many unknowns, and we have an open invitation out to Mr. Warshkala to meet, and that's not been answered yet, and so I think that if the town does not, I don't know what they're doing tonight, it's tonight, right, they're meeting, I think? If they don't agree to pursue and partner with the application process, I don't think there's much that can be done in 2016 on either action or expense side, Angela. So I guess with that, I'm proposing the 2016 budget with expense of $2,739,563, and the 2016 tax levy at $698,298. If anybody's comfortable with adopting those numbers. I'm sorry, before we do that, asking for a motion to close the budget hearing for 2016 budget.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Feltes, seconded by Fetch to close the budget hearing, Mrs. Berg. And a vote whenever you're ready.
Conrad,
Yes.
Sensala,
Yep.
Feltes,
Yep.
Fetch,
Yes.
Olsted.
Yes.
I prematurely stated that now proposing the budget with the total expense of $2,739,563 with a property tax levy of $698,298.
So moved.
How's the ticker? Okay, I just wanted to check. Motion by Conrad to approve those as presented. And a second by Feltes. Just called you Fetch, I'm sorry. Any further comments from the council members? Hearing none, Mrs. Berg will accept a vote on the 2016 budget and tax levy.
Sensala,
Yeah.
Feltes,
Yep.
Fetch,
Yes.
Olsted,
Yes.
Conrad.
Yes.
Okay, we've got future agenda items.
Can we back up a second? Someone had made a motion to postpone a BCC contract, but I never got a second or a vote on that.
Oh, we didn't? I thought we did.
When you postpone, you don't have to.
Oh, you don't?
I don't believe so. What's that? To table it, that's till later in the meeting, then you vote on it. But to postpone until the next meeting, there's
We don't want to do that.
no.
Fritz, did you say to postpone it?
I did. Well, we can vote on it if you want.
Well, I'm
We're gonna
not
be
quite
having-
sure, so.
If we're gonna be having a thing for Thursday, I think we can give you 45 hours to get it done.
Okay. I will not be here Thursday, but I'll make sure that Bill has the
Everything's,
information.
written on from last night's meeting, that's on the side of the
Oh, that we did.
file cabinet that we didn't get to, we had to bring back, but we had to change a couple things in the contract, and I just wrapped that stuff up before the hunting season. So, sure. I can't imagine it would be very long.
Here 3 hours Thursday. Be very disappointed.
Well, we already talked about it, and everybody's already been approved of it, like that recycling contract, all it is making that a 2-year thing, and then making that agreement a 2-year thing to match. I mean, those are formalities, I don't think we have to go through the whole recycling contract again, so. Yeah, you got economic development, I won't be there. So, Mr. Feltes, future agenda items? Mr. Sensala? Mr. Conrad?
I would like, very soon, to have whatever rules we're gonna call them for our meeting, so there's a format. Cause I'd like to put some of this bellyache in the bed, as far as I'm concerned.
Angela, did you get an email over to Terry today about that?
I did, he emailed me back and he said, how long of a presentation were we looking at? I said, long enough to get the point across and short enough not to put people to sleep.
3 or 4 hours.
So he was gonna provide a price and get back to me, so.
And when that's on the, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
When that's on the agenda, I'd like it stated on the agenda, discussion and possible action. So then we can decide, for now, the 6 of us, 7 of us. And that's what we use till, in the future, whoever wants to change it can change.
Can you make sure that that's so reflected after you get the information back from Terry, please?
Sure.
Okay, Ms. Holsted?
Yes.
We're on future agenda items.
Nothing new.
Thank you. Dr. Fetch?
A couple of things I want to
Say again.
reiterate what.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, it is. got Bill Paul. But anyways, what Fritz said, I talked to Kevin Whalen up at the high school about parliamentary procedure, and he'd be willing to come down here with some students that works on parliamentary procedure, and we could probably, you know, along with Mr. Madden's discussion, probably have something with the council and the citizenry, and just see how this works, you know, and we can make a decision on it. And,
Do you guys think it would be better together, or do you think Terry first, or Kevin first, or what are you guys thinking?
Well, if Kevin's free, I'd like to try him first, myself.
yeah, he's pretty free, as far as I know. He has to talk to the students, and so he'd have to get back to us. I was thinking perhaps the first meeting, our next month's first meeting perhaps would be good on that.
Can you take that date back to him and see if that works for him? and give
I
him
will
a-
do that. The second thing I would like to mention is like in most meetings that I am, that I'm well aware of, is that we read the minutes of the last meeting at the current meeting. Now, the reason why I would suggest that we do that is so that we don't lose the thought of those minutes. In the past, I've seen here, we've been approving the minutes of 1, 2, 3, 4 meetings in the past. I don't see why we can't read the minutes within, 2 or 3 minutes, because it's usually one piece of paper. And then, being that it'd be close to the meetings we just had, I would think it would be more fresh in our mind. So I would suggest that we would put this on the agenda or be a part of our regular meetings.
I think we can just make that common practice now that we're having more than one regular meeting. It was always done with the minutes at the regular meeting every month, just because that one was usually well attended minutes, all the month ahead of time. But now that we're having regular meetings, the first and third Monday of every month, I think that we can just make that part of, read the minutes and then approve the minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Okay, do we have to have a motion or agenda item? Just
I
do it.
think we can just make that part of regular practice,
So
don't we,
the
Angela?
thing is to get our minutes out before the meeting so that we can go over them, not just have them put in front of us the night of the meeting, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Are you on the distribution list, on Sally's distribution list for your
I am,
Ward
yeah.
1A? We'll make sure that when those get distributed, that they're emailed to you ahead of time
Yeah,
as
I
well.
think that'd be fine.
With that said, we will entertain a motion to adjourn. Who made the motion? Sensala and Fetch, motion and second, and a vote whenever you're ready, Mr. Fritz.
Feltes? Yes. Fetch?
Yeah.
Holsted? Conrad?
Good night, thank you.
Yeah.
Sensala and Fetch, I have some papers.
The only way this week can get any better is if the papers We don't need this sleep. We don't need this sleep.
She needs it. No. Which Sensala and Fetch.
Probably don't want to.
Spend enough.
Not the Norway.
It's like this year.